The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Well, Wayne State lost a heartbreaker the first week, got beat on last play field goal, which is not the way you like to lose, especially to the team a good team that's been a traditionally strong team and a conference game, and so I'm sure that was very hurtful to them, and lost on the road. But they're, when I see the difference between now and last year is mostly the same people. They got most of all of them back, and I know one thing last year that they were concerned about was breaking in a new quarterback from a guy that started for 4 years, and so he was relatively new. But he's not new this year, and he threw the ball very well last year. I mean, and he got better as the year went along. And so a very capable football team. They'll be big and physical, as all teams from up in that area are, and have experience, and I'm sure have earmarked this as an important game on their schedule, and so we'll have to play well.
You bring up big and physical. Offensive line, smallest guys, 6'2", 286. You got a tremendous pass rush last week against Edinburgh. How do you replicate that against a bigger line?
Well, we got to get skinny and find some of them little creases to get through. And that's probably not any coach in America that says that, but we to get skinny. but we've we just got to have one-on-one matchups that we can win some of those matchups and do a good job of always attacking. We got to be on the attack, and we got to be able to get some pressure on the quarterback, and same old story, the combination, enough pressure to cover them, and enough coverage to get pressure. So, that's what we've got to do again this week. And they got good running attack. They got the running back, and he rushed for a bunch of yardage in the first ball game. He's very capable. I think he ran for quite a bit of yards against us last year. And so we just got to be solid defensively and take care of the ball offensively and make them go the long way instead of giving up a short field like we did this past week.
Does this feel like a Wayne State team that's lost 7 straight games to you?
No, not at all. The fact is, I didn't even know they'd done it. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's serious. Going back to last year.
Really? Lost 7 in a row? I'm shocked. I didn't have any idea that they'd done that. But that's the first time I've heard that. But that does surprise me. And I know they had some injuries at the end of last year, but they got some people hurt against us last year, a couple of key people. But they're you watched them against Michigan Tech. They are a good football team.
Michael Johnson's their leading wide receiver. He hung more than 100 yards and a couple touchdowns on you last year. What makes number 6 such a standout? That wide receiver.
Well, he's got some speed and got some size and has some experience. So we got to give some pressure on the quarterback so he can't stand back. He stood back there forever on a couple of those, and we got to get some pressure and not let the quarterback stand back there for 4 or 5 seconds to throw a pass.
Ball security, you touched on it. 6 fumbles, 4 loss last week. What do you do to correct that from week to week?
Well, you just concentrate and you run where you're supposed to run and take care of the ball, keeping 5 hands on the ball like you're supposed to keep it on the ball until you get through traffic. And a lot of it was just execution, running back running the wrong place, and and we had some new starters there, and we just and then 2 or 3 of them were just concentration. And of course, one of them was a straight shot on the backside of the quarterback, on a pass, which we got to make sure that one don't happen, because that's get arrested for child abuse there, for a coach to allow that to happen. So we got to make sure that don't happen again.
Played a lot of guys on defense last week. Is that the plan again this week, to try to rotate some of these new guys in there?
Yeah, we this time of year in the heat, you definitely want to keep people as fresh as possible. You don't want to get to the point that the lactic acid buildup is past the point of recovery, and then the second thing you want to do is build some depth, because there's always going to be some injuries. And then the third thing you want to do is everybody's throwing the ball, and so you got to be fresh for a pass rush, and so it's important. And pass drops, which means you're covering usually 75 yards length and 53 yards width. And so you gotta do a good job of keeping people fresh in that size of a arena that you're playing in.
You head up to Detroit, first road game of the year. Coach Needs told me you might stop in Cincinnati. What are you expecting from your group on this first long road trip?
Well, I expect them to be on a mission trip and impress upon other people that we run into that there's a guy that has got that can do some special things with kids, and so and for us to express that, and so we're looking forward to going and trying to take the banner of Christ with us, and so. I think the only one that's dreading it is old people, and that's and the oldest one on the trip is Coach Sparks. So, but we'll have a good time and hopefully accomplish more than just go play a football game.
This starts a string of a couple straight road games. Is there
3 straight?
How many?
3.
Yeah, 3 straight. How many how are you intending on getting these guys ready mentally to leave the office each week and start things this week and get ready for all these road games?
Well, it shouldn't matter where you play, and it shouldn't matter who you play. It should matter who you are. And if we are who we say we are, then every game's an opportunity that's not wrapped up into any kind of condition. It's an unconditional. I'm going to go play the best I can, regardless of who I am or where I am or who I'm playing against or whatever, because of who I am. I'm playing the best I can because of who I am. And so, I think you work on the controllables, not the uncontrollables. We can't control our schedule right now because it is what it is. But we can do something about who shows up to play in those games, and that's what we've got to work on. And we got a lot of we're fundamentally have still got a long way to go. We're not the blockers and tacklers that we want to be. We're not we didn't execute Thursday night anywhere near what we need to be. We weren't close to grading out at any position, and so we got a lot of work to do.
Defensively for Wayne State, Norris Fridays kind of stepped into that role that Ed Bibber had last year at linebacker. What have they done to replace quite a bit of their front seven that you've seen?
Well, most of those guys played a lot last year, and especially toward the end of the year. And so when we look at the depth chart, we can't see anybody that's absolutely green that hasn't played for them. And so they probably played a whole lot last year, probably played against us a whole lot last year. So we're probably not going to have the surprise element a little bit like we had last year. I think they were surprised that we we're as fast off the ball as we were last year and those kinds of things. And most people don't realize that until they play against us. And so, of course, I hope that we are. I hope that we are that. And so we weren't Thursday night like we need to be. So we got to get better at it.
Thursday night, you run 80 plays and gain 515 yards of total offense. How much quicker can the offense be?
Well, I think quite a bit. I think we were standing, we got surprised a little bit defensively, offensively with their defense, with the way they lined up to start with. And I think we were sitting there making a few adjustments as we called plays and we were taking longer standing at the line of scrimmage than we normally would, and we need to eliminate that. We need to be snapping it every 10, 12 seconds if we can.